Welcome to Garage Talk. As always, I'm Conrad. Let's go. This episode and this season brought to you by Nicholson Realty 2.0. Buying or selling residential or commercial. Nicholson Realty 2.0 is your realtor for you. We are here with Todd Nicholson, Marion School Board. What got you interested in becoming a school board member?
I had a pretty good experience being a board member at Marion Public Library. Smaller budget, but still it was an important institution in our city, and I was there when we got our building built and went through that process, and I gained confidence that I could do something for other public entities, and the school board obviously is probably the most important one in the city.
Okay. Are you willing to continue assuming your leadership role in the community as a member of the governing body for Marion and the responsibility and time commitment it requires?
Oh, yes, I am. I wouldn't have filed if I hadn't been. I know what it takes in terms of time, and I know what the role is and how different people want what the demands are going to be. I've got a pretty good idea of that, and I want to continue that. There's still stuff to do, and I want to be involved in it.
What do you believe your schools should be accomplishing?
Well, let me say, I think the primary job of a school board member is to provide the resources to allow your students to the opportunity to achieve their highest potential. And that's when students come to your system, when they go through your system, when they graduate from your system, hopefully they know what the next thing is for them, and they feel like they've learned what it's going to take to move forward in that role. Some don't. I mean, there's plenty of people that are 18 years old, don't really know, but at least give them some guidance as to what they ought to consider next and put them on that path.
I mean, I didn't, to be honest with you, Todd, but I figured it out later on.
You have to.
Yeah. What is your single favorite or best thing about that you know about your school system?
Our system takes care of every student that comes into it. They want to make sure that every student in our district comes there, they get the best possible education that they can. We don't get to pick and choose who's in our district, who comes to our school, but we take everybody in and we try to give everybody the same attention, the same care, and give them the best possible experience in our system.
What are your beliefs about the roles of a school board member and your superintendent, and the difference between policy making and administration?
Policy making, administration. Policy making is there's lots of policies that school boards have. They primarily come from the legislature, and they hand them to you and say, here, adopt these. The other big job has always been said, to hire the superintendent, and you do that. Sometimes it's difficult. It might be the toughest job you ever have as a school board member, but you're there to do those things. You're not there to be an administrator. You're not there to micromanage, but you need to give your superintendent and his staff your opinion when they ask for it. But you need to know your boundaries, and hopefully you do.
Yeah. Boundaries are a big thing nowadays. So this is probably one of my favorite questions, because nowadays Facebook has evolved from a social media platform where people connect. It's evolved into a sounding board. So whenever somebody is unhappy with the service at McDonald's, they go quickly to Facebook and voice, and that's their right. That's, sometimes it's entertaining, sometimes it's not. But how do you respond to criticism? Because as a school board member, I'm sure
yeah.
you've had your fair share.
Better than when I was younger. You can't take well, you hope you don't get personal, but
Yeah.
and that's always been hard. But when you're criticized for acts that you do or acts that you don't do, you kind of just have to slough it off, because you're never going to please all the people all the time. That's a lesson we all learn.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When it is necessary, how do you maintain confidentiality? That's a big part of being on the school board.
Oh, it sure is.
Which a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, you just you can't share things with folks just to show you're on the school board or something. When you've got confidential information, you have to hold it close to you. You have to understand why it's confidential, why the person, which probably is the superintendent, has told you this. There's a good reason for it. You ought to be mature enough to do that. Hopefully I am. I believe I am.
How do you separate personal feelings from corporate board decisions? And can you support the decision after the vote has been taken?
Well, yeah, the personal feelings have to be recognized as personal feelings, and you set those aside. I don't know that I've been involved in decisions where just really didn't like them at all. They always, I think the boards that I've been on have really worked out consensus before they take an action. Mm-hmm. So it may not like every aspect of what they're going to do, but it's usually enough that you can be comfortable with it. I haven't really, I guess, luckily, had too much of that in what we've done. And I think most school board members do look for consensus. They really do. That's been my experience.
Yeah. So are you willing to let administrators administrate the system while the Board of Education serves as policy maker and overseer?
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to be a micromanager. In my career at General Motors, about everything we did involved lots of people that you'd had no direct control over. You mm-hmm. were asking for help. Here's what we need. You don't micromanage it. You let people do what they're supposed to do. They're in their job because they can do that. I don't have any problem with micromanaging. No sense taking on more than you want and getting people angry that you do.
Yeah. And lastly, I feel like this is a very important, and it's a question that's near and dear to my heart. Do you believe in professional development for school board members? Are you willing to participate in such meetings?
Yeah, I do. I've got it. Really, I do have a history of that. And then speaking now of the opportunities that the Indiana School Board Association provides for board members at systems, like the annual conferences. I participated in their twice a year updates of legal issues a lot. I do feel like I've done pretty well at that aspect of being a school board member. I was pleased earlier this year when the School Board Association gave me an exemplary service award for service as a school board member and interaction, of course, with the School Board Association. I felt pretty proud of that.
Well, Mr. Nicholson, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Is there anything that you would like to add before we go?
I hope wherever you are in Grant County or wherever your people are hearing you, that they support their schools, their school board. It's our future. Our schools need to be strong. You probably need to tell your legislatures they need to support their schools if you were so inclined. That's, I think, important because financing of public schools is harder and harder every year. We need all the support we can get, and we appreciate, even if you don't have kids in the system, that you support that. Thank you.
Kids are an investment, right?
Yes, they sure are. And if you've had a few, you know exactly what that means.
Again, thank you, Mr. Nicholson. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Teddy, we're here with Marion Community School Board candidate for school board, Gabe Delgado.
Yes, we are.
And he's come to talk to us and tell us a little bit about himself. How are we doing, Gabe?
I'm doing well. I appreciate Garage Talk for having me. I love the
man.
environment in here. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. We've worked real hard to. Teddy's the decorator.
Okay.
So,
I don't think every garage you can go and see Ohio State and Candyland in the same arena. I like it. Appeals to all audiences.
yeah, we hit every demo we can.
I like it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my born and raised in Marion, Indiana, and born into a single parent home. Unfortunately, like a lot of kids that we have in Marion Community Schools, I got 2 siblings and extended family. My wife, Aubrey, ER nurse at Marion General Hospital, has been there for about 20 years. Son Mason is 18. He's at Purdue Fort Wayne right now studying finance and business. Daughter Mia is a freshman at Marion High School. And yeah, I mean, I like to play golf. I don't get to play as much now because I'm hitting the streets. I'm everywhere, so
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of leisure time nowadays.
Well, I know that time is very precious, so we'll let Teddy kick it off.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go question number 1. Why are you interested in being a board member?
So education has always been very important to me, and if you were to ask 2 specific people in my life, my children, I've kind of hammered that home ever since they were little. Education, education, education. And I feel like a better educated child becomes a better, well-rounded individual and productive member of the society. Mm-hmm. So I started the conversation with a network of my friends, and it kind of spread like wildfire. And before I knew it, I had people, saying, hey, you got to do this. And I knew it was the right time to do it. It was a family decision to do, and because I knew it could affect my family. So we all decided together, and I said, if we're going to do it, let's do it. Pedal to the metal.
I like it. So, are you ready and willing to assume this leadership role in the community and as a member of the governing body? You're going to be responsible for all the commitments that it requires. You ready for that?
I am ready for that. I feel like I'm in a very good position in my life, not only personally but professionally. I have board experience. I was on the Grant County Boys and Girls Club board for a period of time, and currently the vice president of the Marion High School Alumni Association. I've never been a part of a board that is a non-working board. We've always had to work and put extra time in and take on those leadership roles and be the faces of the community. So it's nothing that's unfamiliar to me. I've been doing it for the longest time.
Yeah.
Okay, what aspects of your education experience do you feel would be especially helpful in this position?
Of my particular experience?
Yes.
I think just knowing where I've come from and what I've experienced as it pertains to education and what I got through Marion Community Schools, the teachers, the counselors, all of the staff that they have there at Marion Community Schools was something that I took took something very positive away from that. Probably didn't take full advantage of it, and that's kind of why I want to make sure that kids know you've got a special thing going on at Marion Community Schools. Take full advantage of it. So, yeah, just kind of looking back and knowing that I probably could have done a lot better, but I want to make sure that I tell the kids, listen, you got to take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you, because sometimes you only get those once.
Right, true.
So, what do you believe Marion Community Schools should be accomplishing?
I think, whether it pertains to a child that is graduating Marion High School that goes straight to the workforce, your traditional college student, and every child in between, you need to be churning out well-rounded individuals that are ready to experience the world and they're able to interact with different types of people within the world, and just know that once those kids graduate, you feel confident them entering the workforce, going to college, or maybe even going to a trade school.
Right.
We have to make sure that we have all the opportunities and resources available to those kids and that those kids know that. And almost more importantly is the parents need to know that. So I think there's a little bit of a disconnect in terms of communication with parents knowing what resources are available to them. So I think we need to go the extra mile to ensure that parents do know what's available for their children.
Okay. Well, I think I need to know, man, how you're going to respond to criticism.
The best way to respond to criticism is just to listen. I have a very open door policy, open-minded policy. I have thick skin. I've been through a lot, so it's not like I've not been criticized before. So I've just learned to be more patient as time has gone on, and just know that there are different types of opinions, and people have different viewpoints, and that's kind of what makes us who we are as individuals, is that it's okay to have healthy discourse, just as long as you know that you're not jeopardizing what the main goal is. Criticism is going to happen, so you got to take it head on. You have to.
Yeah, no matter whether it's school board or your job.
That could be
or
work, yeah, it
whatever,
could be
you know,
anything,
you
yeah,
can, just
absolutely.
criticism everywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay. What's the single best thing you know about Marion Community Schools?
Marion Community Schools has a long-standing history of, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different cultures, different socioeconomic backgrounds with kids that come into Marion Community Schools. I like to reference Marion High School specifically as real-world training, because I think once you go into Marion High School, and even Marion Community Schools for that matter, you're running into all those things. And all of those things happen in life. Those happen whether or not you go to college or whether or not you go to work, straight to work at Walmart or wherever. If you go into a trade, you're going to encounter those things too. So you got to know how to deal with those things. You have to.
Absolutely. So, how do you separate personal feelings from corporate board decisions, and can you support the decisions after a vote has been taken?
I think sometimes they have to both play a part. I think you have to know when to separate those two. If it's a board, in my opinion, that's a collection of people, like-minded people that are trying to achieve a common goal. I would stand firmly on my beliefs. I will stand firmly on what my constituents believe. But at the same time, if the collective agrees that that is what is best for the children, that's all that I'm about. And if that just so happens to be something that I'm not necessarily in line with or something that I don't agree with, then so be it, as long as it positively affects the children.
Okay. How about your beliefs about the roles of the board and superintendent and the difference between policymaking and administration?
I think board members should always operate in good faith and always keep an open mind. What's best for the children always is paramount and top priority, in my opinion. The relationship between the board and the superintendent needs to be transparent. The people in the community need to know what those conversations are that are being had. As far as policymaking is concerned, that's just a set of rules that we set forth that allow us to make decisions for staff and for administration, and to know how to be able to separate the two, but also at the same time know how to have those conversations. Difficult conversations are going to occur whether you like it or not. You got to be able to have those conversations, whether it's superintendent, whether it's board members, community members. So we just need to be consistent on what we do as far as policy making is concerned. Consistency is key.
I like that.
All right, man. This is, for me, this is an important question.
I thought they were all important.
Yeah, no, you're right. But this is my favorite of all the important questions.
All right, now you're setting it up.
Do you believe in professional development for the governing board members? Are you willing to participate in such meetings? Because the Indiana State School Board Association, they have conferences. They have regional meetings. They have national conferences. the ISBA has a lot of professional development gatherings, and they have breakout meetings, lectures, to get you up on your school board game.
I agree with that wholeheartedly, 100%. I think it should be required. If you don't educate yourself, how can you grow as an individual or a board for that matter? You got to do it. Got to do it.
Got to do it.
You got to do it.
Interesting, because that's, same thing, not just as board member, but as in life.
Yeah, I think it's important. I'm sorry if I, just to interject. I like to tell people while I'm on the campaign trail, I'm trying to, at least for Marion Community Schools, I'm trying to redefine what it looks like as to be a school board member. In my humble opinion, this is no particular shot at anybody, but I personally think that in this day and age, with what the children are facing at Marion Community Schools, it's going to take a little bit more. You got to go the extra mile. Those kids need to know your face, they need to know your name, and they need to know that you're making decisions on their behalf. They got to know that. And almost just as important as that, the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they need to know who you are too. You need to be visible.
I agree.
Got to be.
Yeah, because like you said, Conrad's last question about, are you willing to do all that? It's, the older we get, we're still learning.
Absolutely.
I'm still learning.
Always.
Something new every day. And that's what I try to pass off to my kids and my grandkids.
Absolutely.
You're never going to stop learning.
Nope.
So.
But if you look back at the last 10, 12 years of my life as it pertains to coaching, volunteering, mentoring, I've been doing it.
Right.
I've been doing it. Like, and the people that know me, they know I've been doing it. The kids that know me know I've been doing it. The parents, they know I've been doing it too.
That says a lot right there. All right. Where it is necessary, how do you maintain confidentiality?
I'm glad you asked that question. I had to put one of those in there. I was going to do this little kind of. I'm glad you asked that question, Ted. I'll put it to you like this. I worked in healthcare for almost 20 years. There is no other industry that is under more scrutiny as it pertains to confidentiality than healthcare. There isn't one.
Yep.
There isn't. So that's that.
Yeah. Do you have a willingness to let administrators administer the system while the Board of Education serves as policymaker and overseer?
Absolutely. Those administrators are in those positions for a reason. They're put in those positions because there's the faith in them, there's trust in them. We have to allow them to be able to do their jobs as well without stepping on their toes. We've put that trust in them. So as board members and policymakers, we need to make sure that we're doing our fair share of the work versus what the administrators do. Let them do their thing. They're in that position for a reason. So let's not step on their toes.
Well, I just want to tell you right now that we appreciate you coming on
Absolutely.
and giving us some of your insight. We have a lot of candidates to go through. Every candidate will be getting the same questions. And you just taking the time and throwing your hat in the ring lets everyone know that you do care about the kids in the community. It's like I've told a couple different candidates, the kids are an investment in your community. So put your best foot forward, man, and good luck.
Absolutely. I truly appreciate you guys having me. I love the work that you do. I'm a fan of Garage Talk. Even though I had to come to Gas City, I'm okay with that.
That's all right. You got that purple and gold on.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I didn't know how I was going to be received walking up here wearing this, but I was just like, you know what? I got to live it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also got to be honest and say, I've got a ton of friends over here. A ton of friends over here, and people that work at the schools. Like I know a lot of people over here, and I love what you're doing. By the way, I got to give you a special shout out too because I know you care too, and I know you're doing it for the right reasons. I truly do, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, we'll see you around, right?
You're going to see me around, yeah. You will.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Good
you, Ted.
luck in the election.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Teddy.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon, young man. We got with us Eastbrook school board candidate Chris Duckwall. He's going to come and answer some questions.
Great.
You ready? Mr. Duckwall, how we doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
We're
man.
great.
Yeah. Tell us just a little bit about yourself before we begin.
Sure. My name's Chris Duckwall. Grew up here in Grant County. Been an Eastbrook Panther my whole life.
We won't hold that against you.
I know. Likewise, right?
Yeah.
No, so grew up outside of Van Buren there. And, been here my whole life. Wife and two young kids. Wife's a teacher at North Elementary. So I work for a mid-sized contractor now and run the day-to-day operations for them. And just excited for the opportunity.
Awesome, man. Teddy, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, let's start with question number 1. Why are you interested in becoming a board member?
Sure. Several things, really. I guess first and foremost is I just want to see Eastbrook thrive. I went through that school system. It means a lot to me and a lot of people that I know and love. And as we know, things are ever changing in today's world, so just want to kind of make sure that we're forward thinking and keep Eastbrook what we know and love. My previous job, I worked in a kind of a niche business that worked with only K through 12 public schools, so I met with thousands of teachers and school administrators and business officials across the state. So I learned a lot about it. It really intrigued me, and I think I learned some things from other districts and things that I can bring to the table and help Eastbrook to thrive in the future.
Awesome.
Learning.
Awesome. So, would you say you're willing to assume the leadership role in your community as a member of the Eastbrook governing body? And there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of time commitments. You ready to do all that requires?
Yeah, I am. I've thought about running for the school board for some time, and just kind of waited for the right time in life. We've had a lot going on the last couple of years. Like I said, I've got little kids and things, so I feel like we're settled into a good time in life. That I'm able to commit that time to it and looking forward to it. As far as being involved in the community, I try to do that already. So I feel like I know a lot of community members and connect well with them. I've been on my church board for several years, so that's given me a lot of insight as to kind of how a board functions and the different workings of it. So,
Yeah.
All right. Not just for Eastbrook, but what do you think all of our schools should be accomplishing?
Sure. I think first and foremost, ironically, I think nowadays you have to look at safety first. It seems hard to even imagine that would be the first priority, but just in today's world, we see so much stuff going on. We've got to make sure our kids are safe when they come to school, and I mean, there's a lot of aspects to that, as well as keeping staff safe. But then, of course, educate them and foster them to be good community members and grow up to be successful adults. I mean, especially in our district, I mean, I know there's a lot of kids that come to school and look forward to coming to school. That really is the highlight of their day. So there's so much to keeping them safe and kind of taking a one-on-one interest in them and
That's the
making
climate of the times, man.
Yeah, it's a rough world out there sometimes.
So, what would you say the single best or greatest thing about Eastbrook school systems to you?
To me, without a doubt, that's our people. From our teachers and staff down to our coaches, administrators, kids, parents. I think Eastbrook truly is what it is because of the people, without a doubt.
A lot of them people have been there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's turnover's not real great over there.
No, it's of course small school, rural school. A lot of families have been here for decades, centuries. I mean, and my family's one of them that, like I said, born and raised, and just loved it. Never wanted to venture out. So.
Now, and that says a lot for people that stay a long time. Okay, next question. What are your beliefs about the roles of the board and superintendent and the difference between policymaking and administration?
Sure. Yeah, I would say there's a big difference. Board and superintendent, I think, are going to be, I guess I would maybe describe it as a backseat or oversight from a mile above. Of course, I think everybody has a place, and it's vital to operate that way. But I think you run into a lot of issues when you get board members or superintendents that are what I would call micromanaging and getting too down in the weeds and involved in the day-to-day. There's a reason I'm not a teacher. I don't think I have the patience.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't claim to be able to tell them how to do their job. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's very important. We hire them for a reason. And I think they're duly qualified and great people and great teachers. Just we need to let them do their job. And of course, oversight's important. You got to set boundaries and things, but from afar,
Yeah.
I think is the best for everybody.
So this question is, it's not always this way, but sometimes, the public responds in a way that is a little bit harsh. How do you respond to criticism?
Sure. Yeah, criticism, can be tough, but I think it's important to not respond too quickly. Take a minute, listen first, and then kind of just take some time to reevaluate, consider what their thoughts and their points are, and then talk through why that decision was made or what may be changed going forward. There's always different perspectives. I think that's kind of the neat thing about school board meetings being open to the public. Anybody in the community can come in and, not that they're going to be harsh with it or whatever, but they can bring ideas to your attention and get their viewpoint.
It's always on the agenda.
Yeah.
Public comment.
Yeah, I know it doesn't get used too often, but it's there.
Okay. When it is necessary, how do you maintain confidentiality?
Sure. Yeah, with board work, there's a lot of instances where confidentiality is going to be necessary. Of course, keeping those things in the meeting it would be the top way to do that, and just make sure that anything confidential or personal or related doesn't really leave the meeting. Obviously there's going to be things that do leave the meeting that keep the community informed and things, but anything that would be at all confidential just has to stay in that meeting.
Yep. Executive sessions.
Yep.
So how do you separate your personal feelings from corporate board decisions?
Sure.
And can you support those decisions after the vote has been taken?
Sure. Yeah, I think you just have to look at it through a lens of I'm here to serve our community and do what's best for our children and our school system. It really has nothing to do with what's best for any individual. So just keeping that lens in focus that you're doing what's best for Eastbrook. And as far as supporting it after the fact, you just trust that all 5 board members are doing what's best, and that's why they're in the positions that they are. So just accept it and do what's best for the community.
Okay, let's move on. Are you willing to let the administrators administer the system while the Board of Education serves as policymaker and oversight?
Sure. I think we kind of touched on that and went into that a little bit earlier. I've seen firsthand how much work there is to administration. And like I said, I think those folks are very talented and have a lot on their plate. So I think it's vital that we let them do their job and we do ours, and put trust in them that they're doing a good job. I mean, it's tough enough. We all need to come together and be on the same side.
Trust is key. This question, we've talked to the candidates from Marion, and I feel like this question is like one of my favorite ones because being a school board member, everybody thinks you just go in there and make a vote, but there's a lot of time in the background.
Sure.
Do you believe that in professional development for the board members, and are you willing to participate in such meetings? The ISBA, they have conferences, state, regional. There's even a national NSBA.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I think I bring a lot to the table as far as perspective and things, but I definitely don't claim to know it all. So there's always more to learn. Like I mentioned from my previous employment with schools, IASBA was the business officials organization, and we partnered with them a lot. And so I was able to go to some of those sessions, and there are some great meetings and teachings that happen through those conferences. So yeah, absolutely. I know it can take up a lot of time, but thankfully I'm in a position at work where I'm a little bit flexible and can commit some time to that. And so yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day
Yeah.
to come and talk with us.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. Thanks
We
for
wish
having
you
me
the
on.
best of luck in the election over there in Eastbrook, and we'll see you on the football field soon.
I think it's coming up quick, isn't it?
And I will echo Conrad's sentiments. We appreciate you coming on, taking
Yep.
the time to do it, and good luck here in a few weeks. And
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, Teddy, we got Mississinewa at-large school board candidate Lani Stearns
Yes,
with
we do.
us. How you doing, Lani?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Beautiful day.
Beautiful.
Perfect day.
Tell us just a little bit about yourself, please.
All right. Well, I'm Lani Stearns. I have been in the Mississinewa community for going on 19 years. I guess this is year 19 going on 20 years. So didn't grow up here, but lived here for the last 20 years and made this home. So we love it here. I have 3 kids. Layton is a senior this year. Jada is a freshman, and Livia is in 7th grade. And then my husband, Josh, is a business teacher at the high school. So we are very involved in the schools and love what they do there. Professionally, I am a nurse practitioner and also the administrative director of our cancer center at Marion Health. Just took on the role of the administrative director this last February, so just been doing that for about 6 or 7, well, I guess it's 8 months now. So I've been a nurse for 19 years, and then I've done a little bit of everything as far as in the oncology realm anyway. I've always worked with cancer patients, so
Okay.
yeah, so that's me.
That's great. All right, we're gonna start out with some questions. Now, I know some of these you
Okay.
might have kind of answered already. I know you do some Facebook posts, letting people
Yep,
know.
yep.
So I apologize if any of these are
No, it's no problem.
redundant.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we ask all the candidates the same questions.
Yeah, so,
No problem at all.
That have come on.
okay, let's go with question number 1. Why are you interested in becoming a board member?
Well, like I said, I love Mississinewa schools, and I'm always looking for ways to get involved in our community, and just feel like this is a way that I can make a positive impact, not only on my own kids, but on the rest of the students at the school as well, and that's something that can be a positive impact for years to come. And I really just want to be an advocate and a positive voice for the students and the staff of all of our schools. So I feel like I like to serve in different areas and just like to be involved. So I just felt like this is a way that I can kind of insert myself and be involved. So
Yes. are you willing to assume a leadership role in the community, as well as a member of the governing body, and the responsibility and time constraints it requires?
Yeah, I mean, I think their time is valuable, obviously, and I do have a lot of things going on, but I feel like I'm a pretty good time manager and capable of fulfilling all of my commitments, and I feel like I am a leader in most areas. I've always been considered a leader, even without really the title of leader. It's always just been, oh, I've been a leader. So that's just, I think, a role that I think I can embrace. And I think our students need more positive role models that are surrounding them and supporting them. And I think that I can be one of those people for them. So I'm excited about that opportunity and definitely wouldn't take that responsibility lightly. And with the time commitment, I realize it does require some time, and I'm willing to commit to do that as well.
Okay. All right. Now this doesn't necessarily pertain to Mississinewa, but all schools. So what do you believe our schools should be accomplishing?
That's a good question. I think that schools should just be helping to grow students to the best of their ability to bring out the most potential out of each student, whatever that is. Every student is different, and they're all capable of becoming successful members of society, and schools have such a awesome responsibility and can have such a big impact on doing that, whether it's just helping with life skills, like communication and problem solving and being adaptable to different situations that they're going to find themselves in the future. And I think that's really the point of school. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean every student has to go to college. There's different pathways that students can be successful. And I think that the school's responsibility is just to help them find what is their fit and help them to become the best version of themselves by the time they graduate.
Lani, what is the single best or your favorite thing that you know about Mississinewa Community Schools?
Man, that's a hard one too. There's a lot. There's so much that I love about our schools, but lately, the one thing that has really impressed me, I went to graduation last year just because we knew a lot of the graduating class didn't really have a family member, but I wanted to go and support the kids. And I was so impressed, one, with the number of students that were, what's the word I'm looking for, recognized for lots of different achievements. But one in particular stood out to me was Justin Rice Jr.,
Yes.
who not only did he complete his high school degree, but he was able to, go through the Leffler Academy and complete the LPN program there at the same time. And then not only did he complete it, but then he passed his certification to become an LPN. And I just think that's amazing. Like, the fact that our school system is able to think outside the box and collaborate with other organizations, and that just blew my mind, because I'm like, I don't know if people realize how difficult that is to do for a student, and how amazing. Like, he's 18-year-old kid that is now a nurse. Like,
Right.
That's incredible.
Sure
So
is.
I was like almost in tears, like, oh my gosh, that's amazing that opportunity is available. So I just think it's such an awesome accomplishment, and that, people need to know that just doesn't happen. That takes some major collaboration with the school and with Leffler Academy, and some forward thinking that went into that to make that happen. And I was kind of blown away by that. So right now, that's what I'm most impressed by. That's still just on my mind after all these months.
Well, that is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll read this one kind of slow because this is a long question.
Okay.
Okay, what are your beliefs about the roles of the board and superintendent and the difference between policy making and administration?
Okay, this is a long one. I did answer this question before, though. To me, I think the board is more of the support for the superintendent and the administration, and not necessarily responsible for making those day-to-day decisions. That's going to come from the administrators and the superintendent, and we, as the board, shouldn't really be managing those decisions. I feel like the school board is more, in that role of policy adoption and getting the recommendations from the superintendent, and then either agreeing or disagreeing and discussing and whatnot. But to me, I don't really think it needs to be micromanaged. I think that we, hire people to do that job and should trust that they're going to. So, yeah.
Yeah. This next question, hopefully you don't hear a lot of, because some things are unpopular
Right.
when it comes to the public. How do you respond to criticism?
Well, I don't think criticism is always a bad thing. I think that there are multiple ways that things can be done. I find that in the nursing world, there's a way that things can be done, but there's also 17 ways that something can be done, and not everybody does it the same, but we all end up in the same, at the end of the day, we have the same outcome. So I think if someone brings something to my attention and says, I think this could be done this way, I think it's important to just sit back and hear their opinion. A lot of people just want to be heard. So just being open to hearing what they have to say, and listening, and then considering that opinion, and then making it, if it's beneficial, then we can utilize that to make change for the students and teachers and the corporation as a whole. So I don't think it hurts to take the time to listen to that criticism and, reevaluate, are we doing it the best way? Because maybe there is another way that we can do this. So we can learn from criticism, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When and where it is necessary, how do you maintain confidentiality?
I think I'm pretty good at this because it's a law in my field.
Right.
There's, in the healthcare world, like, we don't get to talk about anything. So, and that's an everyday thing for me. So it's not a problem. It's not difficult at all. Even now in my leadership role, like, there are things that I hear from, upper management that might be coming down the pipeline, and they're like, okay, we can discuss this, but you can't discuss this with your staff yet. When you can discuss this with your staff, we'll let you know. And so that stays with me until I'm capable to have that conversation with anyone else. So obviously there are situations like that where there's a time and a place when certain things can be discussed, and until then, I don't have any problem keeping those things to myself, and when it's time, we'll talk. So
Okay. How do you separate your personal feelings from corporate board decisions, and can you support a board decision after the vote has been taken?
Yeah. I think it is a duty, as a board member, to separate your personal feelings from decision making. Obviously there's a 7-member board, and we all are going to have different opinions and different feelings about things, but we all are not just representing ourselves. We're there to represent the community. And so I think it's our responsibility to make the decisions for the staff and the students and the corporation with the best interest of everyone in mind, taking into account all of their suggestions and ideas and whatnot. And our agendas and our feelings aren't what we're there to make happen. We're elected with the confidence that we're going to represent the community, not just one person or one group of people or even your own personal feelings. So, and I think that, we're all a part of a team. After the vote is made and my vote is given, whatever the decision is the decision of the board as a whole, and that becomes our team. And so, there's going to be instances where we don't agree, but at the end of the day, we're all there for the same purpose, which is what is the best interest of our school corporation and the students and the staff and the teachers and all of that. So you kind of have to be on the same page at the end of the day. So when the vote's done and this is our decision, got to support it.
Right. Okay, now this next one, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but are you willing to let the administrators administer the system while the Board of Education serves as a policymaker and oversight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think that we hire administrators with confidence that they're more than capable to lead their teams. So I don't think that's necessary to be micromanaged by the board or the superintendent. I think every building administrator that I know, is on, fire for their school. Like, they love it. They have great ideas. They're always thinking ahead. And so they're more than capable of doing that. And so I think as the board, we're just there to help support them to even just elevate it to the next level. They're capable of so much. They just need the support of the board. So, I don't think that is a problem at all.
Yeah. Do you believe in professional development for the governing board members? Are you willing to participate in such meetings?
Of course. Like, I love to learn. My career, I have to do professional development all the time. You have to do continuing education credits all the time. And I always have way more than necessary, just because I always want to know the why. I always want to know what's going on, behind the scenes, and why does it work this way, So I always love a new challenge and just learning something new. So I'm more than willing to, put myself in those opportunities where I can learn more and, be the best support that I can. And I know there's things I'm going to have to learn because this is obviously a new thing for me, but I'm willing to do that and excited about that too. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Lani, for taking the time to call
You're
us.
welcome.
We
I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and don't hang up just yet.
Okay.
But we greatly appreciate you and wish you the best of luck. Elections they're fun in the beginning, and then that day comes, and then your guts wrenched, and
I'm sure. Yeah.
so,
Yeah, we appreciate you,
great.
and we wish you the best of luck. And
Thank you.
Just hang on.
hey, Teddy, we got with us in the garage school board candidate for Mississinewa at-large seat and incumbent, Chris Cunningham. How we doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, thank you
Thanks
for
for coming
coming.
on.
We got you trapped in the garage now, buddy.
I noticed the door's closed, so yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm married. My wife, Deborah McCollum Cunningham, we both grew up here as Mississinewa and graduates, and probably, I guess you would say, high school sweethearts.
Okay.
We've, married, got two kids, 2 boys. Oldest one lives in Indianapolis. Youngest one teaches chemistry here at Mississinewa. Got 3 beautiful grandbaby boys. Oldest one's 6. Youngest one's just coming up on 2. So been here, born and bred. Played football here. Our class was the first class to graduate out of the new high school. So it was brand new when we moved in, and we thought we'd died and gone to heaven. And my wife's class was the first class to go all 4 years at the new high school.
Okay.
So I work for Community Corrections in Grant County. I've been the director there now, umpteen years. Just celebrated this September 40 years.
Wow,
They're working in
congratulations.
corrections. Thanks.
Congratulations,
So
man.
love every minute of it. Get to work with a lot of great people. So I've been on the board since 1996, about 28 years now.
Wow.
On
That's
the
when I
board.
graduated.
I think Spike's 2 years behind me at 26, but I've been on, and I've really enjoyed. Our family is my wife's family, and her dad, Harold McCollum, and Kay, and my family, the Cunningham part of it, always have believed in service to our community and giving back, and so we've enjoyed that life. So hoping to be on the board for another 4 years, but we'll see what God's got in store.
Yeah.
Awesome. I do, before we start with the candidate questions, how's your wife feel with just all males around? I mean, if you said 3 grandsons, right?
Yeah, I got 3 grandsons.
And you had 2 sons.
Yes. Well, she grew up in a household with 2 brothers.
Yeah.
So, she had, for them, I think when she got hot, they were scared. And they couldn't outrun her.
No.
She still got the school record for the high jump.
Wow.
And up until, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, so 25 years, she had the record for the 800.
Man.
So Connor, our youngest one, was 3-sport athlete, and so he was fast like his mom. Thank goodness he wasn't slow like his dad. So, but she holds her own, and but we had hoped to be able to have a little girl. It just wasn't in the cards. But we have some nieces that she gets to get her girls on with. But
There you go.
the boys they are definitely a challenge, so.
They are. All right, we ready for question 1? Okay. You've already been a board member for a long time.
Yeah.
What's your main interest in being the board member?
Okay, so, like I said, it's been a life of service for us and for myself included. I really thought I found my niche in being involved with the school board. I already do a lot of administration at work. My undergrad, I was a teacher for 5 years working with at-risk kids, and then moved into probation after that, and then community corrections. And I've always felt a burden for kids, and particularly those kids who are at risk. I got a chance to see what they had to deal with in their home lives, and then how that impacted them. I'll still occasionally get a call or an email or a letter from them from then. And so I guess my passion around that was being an educator and working in that part of it. I thought, well, what can I do with these gifts? And my graduate degree is in management from IW. Now they call it Master's in Leadership. But so I thought that was the area that I could, probably give back the most to, our community. And so that's what I'm, asking to do again, just to be able an opportunity to serve.
Okay.
So, are you willing to continue with your leadership role in the community's governing body of the school board and the time constraints that it requires?
Well,
and the commitments.
Yeah, there's a lot of time commitment to it. When I first came on the board in '96, believe it or not, we were getting ready to start a building project. So 28 years ago, we were in the process of looking at some major renovations. Believe it or not, when I first came on the school board, J.C. Knight was still an active elementary, and so was East School, where the administration office was now. So those were active elementary schools at the time. And so the time constraints that existed when I first started will probably be the same time constraints, even more, as we move forward with a new building project. And I guess that's one of the things that we talk about giving back, is that I'll be the only one left that went through the first building project, and the things that maybe learned from some of the mistakes that we made at that time, and some of the things that we're doing now, I think, to be able to provide the community a better vision about what we're going to do and what that means for our community. So it's really how God circles things around back. Okay, well, here we are again.
Yeah.
Back for a building project. So and I'm used to time constraints. My wife and I we're heavily involved in our church. We're heavily involved in several community things that we like to do with the rescue mission and other events. And so I'm pretty confident that I can do that. I'm not as young as what I was before, so I still got to have my sleep. But I'm willing to go to the meetings and put the time in that's necessary.
Okay, now, this next question, it pertains to Mississinewa, but you can loop it in with all schools. What do you believe our schools should be accomplishing in this day and age?
Well, I think we're doing a great job of accomplishing many things. I mean, when you look at the number of AP classes and things that we offer for kids, I mean, this last graduation, I mean, we had kids graduate with an LPN degree. We had kids that by the time they finished school, they had enough credits for an associate degree. So we've done some of those things very well. I think the new process that we'll see coming for us is more investment in technical education. And I think our school does they talk about adapt and overcome. And I think that's one of the things that our school corporation does really well is now we're looking at areas where kids can learn a skill, learn a trade, be involved. We participated in a pilot project with Slingshot to give kids an opportunity to be able to learn a skill. And so at the same time they're getting credit, they're getting paid. DECA was kind of the forerunner, I think, for some of that. But DECA really focused a lot on business, and this avenue of it, I think, focuses a lot on the development of skills for employment. Okay. So there's, that's the one area that I think, and just all schools, when you look at that, because of what we've seen happen in our country and in the job market, electricians, plumbers, welders, all these things that are skill-based that, and to be honest, provide them a good income, a good income. So that's the area I think that will be going. It doesn't mean that we haven't been meeting that, but I think that's an area that we'll see in the next 4, 5, 6 years, a lot of expansion in those areas of technical training.
Okay.
So what's the single best or your favorite thing about your school system?
So, gosh, that's hard to nail down. So I guess to me, the thing that I would say about our community is that, and I see it with our corporation, our administrators, our teachers, is that we care about every kid and not care about them just as a number or a grade, but they're respected and cared for. And I see that in the teachers, and I see that in the administrators. There's kind of this overarching inclusivity with kids that sometimes you don't see. You don't see them labeling a kid and say, hey, he's a troubled kid, let's do what we can to get him out of here. They don't do that. They try and meet them where they're at and then move them forward. And the kids that respond to that and watching them respond to that is pretty moving to watch kids respond to that and be met. So that's the thing that I guess admire the most about our corporation and moving kids forward is that there's this inclusive environment. Leslie Winter, our previous superintendent, used to always use this word inclusivity. And now I find myself using the word because it really describes what we try and do every day with kids. And as far as I'm concerned, it makes the Indian Academy is a perfect example of that, of taking kids who, if we were to go back 20 years in the environment that it was before, those kids would be due processed and they'd be out.
Right.
And that just doesn't, if a kid is willing to try and put forth some effort, we're going to be there with them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I appreciate about Mississinewa schools.
Okay, next question. What are your beliefs about the roles of the board and superintendent and the difference between policy making and administration?
Okay, let's see. The board's responsibility is budgets, policy making, and probably its single biggest responsibility is picking the leadership for the corporation, which is the superintendent. Beyond that, we serve as a sounding board, I think, for people in the community, for them to be able to voice concerns or say things that they're not happy with. And I've really followed this rubric probably about the first 6 years I was on the board. And it's this, is that if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I've got this going on with a teacher that my kid has. And my first question to him is, have you talked to the teacher? And if the answer is no, I usually get these arguments like, well, they'll take it out on my son. They're unwielding. I said, well, how do you know that till you talk to them? And then I would say, after you talk to the teacher, if you're not happy, I would suggest you go to the principal. And if you're not happy with what the principal has to say, then I'd set up a time to meet with the superintendent. And I can understand that might be intimidating, so I will go with you if you want to do that. So I've been doing this 28 years now, and I think of only 2 times that we've had to go past the teacher.
Wow.
99% of the time, it's a situation to where the kid was telling the parent that this is what was going on, and that wasn't the case. Or the teacher didn't understand what the kid was trying to communicate to him. Okay. So really it boils down to many times this communication that's necessary. And we live in a society now that you don't talk. You text, you send emails, you barrage people on Facebook when you don't really have the whole story. And so consequently what happens is a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of hard feelings. And like I said, and the times that I've never had to go with somebody to the superintendent. Normally when the principal's gotten involved, it's been, this situation where, again, there was a lack of understanding about what was going on, and the teacher still didn't get it, and the parent still didn't get it. But once they all met, it's always been resolved. And I have lived by that rubric for, like I said, the last 28 years, and it's been, very effective for me. So that's how I will not talk to people about personnel. I will listen to what they have to say, but I will not, I always tell them, you want to tell me about your last evaluation, and let's throw it, here. Right. I'm not gonna, not gonna do that. And for the most part, people are understanding. We've got a great community, and but sometimes when it's your kid, people, get excited about something and jump from, 0 to 60, and when if they just slow down, they'd figure out what was happening. Right. So that's the board. I think from that part of it, really needs to, as much as possible, stay in their lane. Now there are some situations to where superintendents are so involved in the big picture many times that they don't see the little things that go on. And so I think that's an opportunity for us then, is to provide that information. And all the superintendents that I've worked with and that we've done evaluations on have responded favorably to any of that. Okay. So and that is our job too, is to evaluate the superintendent. We've got a pretty sharp rubric, I think, that helps us do that. And that, if someone comes up with something better or they offer something for us to look at, I think we're willing to do that. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, sure does.
So how does Chris Cunningham respond to criticism?
Well, that's a great... Chris Cunningham now, or Chris Cunningham when, when he was 18 years old? Chris Cunningham now responds to... So I've lived by this too, is that hurting people hurt people.
Yeah.
And so many times when people are critical or abusive in their criticism, then they're hurting about something. Something's bothering them. Something's upset them that's going on. And generally, when you start talking with them, you figure out what that is. Criticism doesn't bother me. But what I always like to hear from people is, okay, this is the problem that you see. How do you see an equitable way to solve it? And no, it's not fire this teacher or this football coach or this basketball coach. What is it that you see? And so I don't mind criticism. I think, like I said, problems are opportunities in work clothes. So it could be something that they have that they really, feel like is, and I've seen through the years that some of those, once you work through it, it's like, okay, I see what you're saying. I see what you're talking about. But I don't respond well to people that want to rip on our teachers or staff or people without looking at the whole picture. I don't. I'm very loyal to our community and very loyal to our teachers. Being a teacher from that point, it's a hard job.
Yes.
And each year it gets harder and harder. And I want them supported and felt well of. So if there is, criticism, it needs to be constructive for me.
True. Okay, where it's necessary or when it's necessary, how do you maintain confidentiality?
You zip it. You don't talk outside of a board meeting with people about things that are confidential. Sometimes people believe. I love my father-in-law to death, but he would always say, "Hey, what's going on with such and such?" And I would say, "Harold, I can't talk to you about it." Well, at Jackie's, they said, this, and this. And I said, well, unfortunately, I wasn't at Jackie's, but I said, I can't talk to you about what's going on with personnel. Oh, yeah, you're right. You can't talk about it. And so it was, I even, like I said, I got it from family members about, what's going on. But anything that happens around personnel, people have a right to their privacy.
Right.
And people don't understand that, many times and so they view it as a negative, kind of thing, that you're trying to hide something, you're trying to keep something under wraps, and that's absolutely not true. It's just we can't talk about it. And if they come up with a different story and they put it out there, we really can't. We really can't comment, because we're, our job too is to protect the corporation when it comes to anything like that. So revealing items that revolve around personnel opens the corporation up to liability, and I'm not going to be one that does that.
Right.
So can you tell us, how do you separate your personal feelings from board decisions? And once the decision is made, can you support that decision?
Well, I tell you, sometimes that's tough for me because I'm pretty passionate about what I believe and what I believe should happen. But I've learned, again, over the years, I will argue about different things. But one of the things I always appreciate about our current board and the other boards we have is that everybody sees things through a different lens. Everybody sees things through a different lens, and the board members that we have now all see things different. They have a different view about what something might be, what a particular issue is. So I've learned that I don't necessarily always have the right answer, but what I know is that we're all in it to do the right thing. And so we may view that as how that needs to happen differently. So I've learned that, over the years that, well, I don't necessarily like maybe the decision that we've made, but I'm going to fully support the board after a vote. I'm not going to, if someone asks me, I'm going to say, look, this is what we decided, and this is what, the reason I think that we decided it. As long as it's outside, as long as what we're doing is in a public meeting, then, I will discuss part of that with them. But I've never really thought of it as a negative I've been a person that I always think of the glass as being half full. So there's many times I think decisions or points that I've argued, and then later, 2 or 3 years later, and I thought the way I wanted to go that I thought or believed in, and the vote went another way, and they were absolutely right. You know, I mean, I can see now looking at, and I was a young person on the board then. People that had been there maybe a little longer, and they had insight that, you know, I didn't have. So that, after having those things happen to you, you're start like, okay, I can see how this goes. So I've appreciated. So I don't have a problem. I do believe in arguing what I believe vigorously, but once a decision has been made by the board, I fully support it because that's what our country's built on.
Right. Sure is.
Yes.
All right, are you willing to let administrators administer the system while the Board of Education serves as policymaker and oversight?
Short answer's yes. The longer answer for that is that's always how I've operated. So, and I think for the most part, with a few exceptions, that's the way our board has been. There are, you know, like I said, different perceptions of things we see where we get a chance to share that may affect the decision, but ultimately if our superintendent believes this is the way it should go and it's fully supported, you know, by our teachers and other administrators, who am I to pick another way to go? I mean, you know, we pay the teachers to teach, we pay the administrators to be administrators, and we pay the superintendent to be the superintendent. Who am I to come in and say, you know, this is how you should do it? I'm not gonna do that. So I don't know if you want to call it stay in your lane or whatever. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna voice my opinion with them about what I think, but at the end of the day, look, it's your job. So, you know, you do it the best you see fit, and when the evaluation comes time, if those things don't come to fruition, then we'll talk about it.
So, do you believe in professional development for school board members, and are you willing to continue to participate in those such meetings?
So I've always been a firm believer in professional development. ISBA offers points and a recognition program for boards and for individual board members. And having been on the board, they call it a master board member. I think I've cycled through that thing like 3 times. I'm a lifetime learner, and I believe there's always. I'm also a pretty avid reader. I like just about all subjects, but particularly things around leadership or people development and mentoring. I read a lot, and one of the things that you're never too old to learn.
Right.
And so being that way and a lifetime learner, I think says, look, you know, training is important. It also, I think, gives us an opportunity as a board to sort of divide up and go to different sessions, and then have an opportunity then in the late afternoons or evenings to be able to share what we've learned, which is I think it's pretty dynamic. I think it's also builds a lot of unity around decisions and things that you have to make later. But, a lot of things that we learn at these conferences, we come back and look at an opportunity to implement those in, our corporation. I think the sessions the trainings that I've been at, I've never seen people have as many board members as we have for our size of corporation that go to these opportunities for training. And so I certainly believe in it, I support it, and I hope we'll continue to do that as a board.
Well, Chris, we do greatly appreciate you taking
Yes, we do.
your time to come and hang out in the garage today. And we want to wish you good luck. And it's dinner time, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate again the opportunity to come and talk to you all.
Yes.
And like I said, whatever happens, you know, God's still on the throne. I'll still get up in the morning, and I'll love being a part of the Mississinewa community.
Always.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Chris, and good luck.
Thanks.
We got with us Mississinewa at-large school board candidate Matt Worrell. How we doing, Matt?
Hey, Conrad, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I cannot complain.
Okay.
I cannot complain. I'm not in a heated, contested election.
Right.
Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yeah, I'm Matt Worrell, born and raised here, graduated from Mississinewa, worked here, lived here about my whole life. So, I moved away about 5 or 6 years, got married, had kids, and when they got to be school age, we decided, hey, Mississinewa was a pretty good school system. Ended up moving back because I was like, I liked it, and my wife, she's a Yorktown person, so don't hold that against her. But
She's an Indian now.
She is an Indian now, so but so that's it. I'm a local boy, and that's
All right,
Not
let's
much
start
else.
out with question number 1. Okay, Matt, why are you interested in becoming a school board member?
Well, with I got 2 kids in the system. My wife works there. My mom was a teacher for 30 years there. I graduated there, and I try to. Being involved in community stuff is a big part of who I am. It just made sense. Like if I want to have a say, I might as well be part of this. Part of it. So it's I was on Mill Township Fire Department for 10, 12 years. So being in the community is important. We were talking earlier, I was late. I had to go to my Main Street Gas City meeting.
You were right on time.
This was just another. I was like, I've got ideas, and I feel like I'd like to contribute. That's my thing.
Okay.
So
you ready and willing to assume a leadership role in the community as a member of the Mississinewa governing body, and the responsibility and the time commitment it requires?
yes, very much so. Being in a leadership role, it's. At work, I'm a department of 1, I'm a pretty good leader. My employees tell me I am. Time-wise, I don't do a whole lot. I'm a homebody, and trying to find ways to help the community. I've got, it's either watch some Netflix, play some video games, or get out and help your neighbors, kind of thing. So. I don't plan on moving anytime soon, so I'm here for the long haul. And with Main Street, I know it's a minimum commitment kind of thing, but I just feel like the rewards we get for putting that time in totally justifies it. Because what is school board? 2 or 3 days of the month kind of thing, and then
I know that they're getting ready to kick into a lot of meetings for projects and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's big projects. I was just talking with Spike up at Main Street about some of the new projects they've got for the buildings themselves, and so that'll be pretty involved, I imagine. But that's the kind of stuff I like. I love seeing those kind of improvements that come around. Just knowing what Gas City was 10 years ago, and then seeing all the growth and everything, like that's what it's about. I just feel like it's so good to call the place home and to be proud of it. So
Okay, what do you believe that our schools should be accomplishing?
I think we do a pretty good job right now. I like the programs that we've got, whether they're sports or other more academic clubs, those kind of things. But just really, preparing the kids for the future. I would love to see more. I feel like a lot of the and this is not just Mississinewa,
Yeah,
but
right.
most of Indiana, everything is testing for math and English. And I'd love to see more, even local geography, like just the United States. Like, sometimes these kids can't even tell you what state is next door to us. You know, more focus on social studies, science, STEM. STEM is a big
Yeah.
thing for me. But I would love to see us moving. The testing is great. That's where the funding comes from. But I'd like to see our students more rounded. You know,
Yeah.
just bouncing a checkbook. You know, those kind of things. Just
Writing a signature.
writing a signature. Yeah. Yeah.
Signing a signature.
Yeah.
Signing a signature.
Changing a tire, checking the oil.
Just the real life stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that because, you know, you mentioned some of this stuff that it seems like it's fallen by the wayside. History.
Yeah. Shop class, home ec.
Trade schools, yeah.
I loved that stuff.
So what's the single best thing that you know about Mississinewa School?
Gosh, that's a hard one to put down. I just feel like a lot of people who graduate end up coming back around. It's I think the school does a good job of fostering a sense of community, that you're not just, you know, let's crank them out, get the money, get the grade, you know, whatever, and move along. I think the school does a good job of fostering people who want to be here, and supporting each other. So,
Okay. Next one. Okay, what are your beliefs about the roles of the board and the superintendent and the difference between policymaking and administration?
I personally, I would feel like the board, and what I would like to do is more. I don't want to be telling teachers what to do. I feel like the board or the school is going to hire the people that, you know, hey, you're qualified for this job. I'm going to trust you to do your job. Policy making, yeah, sure, great. Let's follow along. You know, let's do evidence-based kind of stuff, like what is working for other community schools, and let's kind of emulate that. But I just feel like board members shouldn't or don't, and I might be totally speaking out of turn here because I'm not
No, go
super
ahead.
familiar with
Yeah.
you know what you guys are doing as a member right
Yeah.
now, but I just feel like being able to trust your staff and your faculty in the buildings to do their jobs is where I'm gonna maybe that's naive of me, but to say, hey, you're doing your thing, and let us focus
Yeah.
on the bigger picture kind of stuff, like
Yeah.
making resources available to you and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't plan on getting in anybody's way.
Yeah. And this next question, hopefully you don't get a lot of it, but it sometimes happens. How do you respond to criticism?
So that one's a big one for me. Just throwing it out there. I have ADHD. And one of the
It's the theme for today.
but like people with that, like we are hyper sensitive to criticism. And gosh, even just going back, I'm pulling this way back, but I remember right in high school, I worked at the Sirloin Stockade
Man, I miss that place.
washing dishes, and I hated it. And it's an entry job for me. And my dad told me, he's like, you do the job the best you can. It doesn't matter what the job is. It's important to somebody somewhere. It's important. And so I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But being criticized as a person with ADHD is like, I don't want to be criticized, so I try to do my very best and know, like, you're getting 110. You're getting every bit of my energy and dedication into that, because I've always tried to be beyond criticism.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I just want to exceed your expectations, so much so that there's just nothing you can say.
Yeah.
But I love feedback. I want to know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, how I can do it better. constructive
Right.
criticism, not just for, I don't like that guy really, but no, I'm open to it and I take it very seriously. And criticism's a great way to grow. So,
A lot of learning from criticism.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Where and when it is necessary, how do you maintain confidentiality?
Well, this one's pretty easy for me. I spent 15 years between two hospitals, so patient confidentiality was drilled into us. It's just kind of need to know basis. I'm not a gossip. I'm a pretty quiet person, and so maintaining confidentiality that to me falls under your integrity as a person. Like, if you can't be trusted to keep your yap shut on stuff, you don't need to know it. So yeah, that's another big thing for me.
How do you separate your personal feelings from corporate board decisions, and can you support a board decision after the vote has been taken?
Yeah, that's a tough one, especially for a smaller community like ours, where everybody knows everybody. It's real easy to butt heads with stuff, and the rumor mill spins and spins and spins. So,
And spins.
It doesn't stop.
so it would probably be hard, and I tend to I take things personally, so I always try to put my best version out there. And here I go rambling again. Separating personal. That's just another thing that you just have to do as a professional person. You got to be able to know that. It's easy in my current job. I mean, kind of examples like somebody's having a bad day. You still got to, I'm still going to provide them the best service that I can.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how they're treating me.
Right.
And that just kind of has to be, I just look out for the best interest of everybody. I feel like me taking on this role is not for me. Most of my jobs have always been in a servant capacity somewhere. People are trusting me to make good decisions on behalf of them. And so that's just going to continue.
Yeah.
Okay, are you willing to let administrators administer the system while the Board of Education serves as policymaker and oversight?
Absolutely. That's kind of where, I thought that was the default setting for this. Yeah, it goes back to just trusting the people you got on the ground to do, they know what's going on in the classrooms, in the schools. I'm not, the board's not there every day. They don't see the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
And trusting the people you've got in the positions to do their job, you have to. I just feel like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Do you believe in professional development for board members? Are you willing to participate in those meetings?
Oh, yeah.
Do you believe in that?
That's yes, very much so. I crave learning stuff. Like, well, thanks ADHD. It's really easy to get down a rabbit hole on those kind of things. And I know, the more knowledge you have, the better you are to do your job. I've heard a lot of people talk about, well, Chris, like I've only heard great things where he is, like, when it comes to all the rules and regulations from
Legislation.
He's the man.
Yeah.
Everybody just tells me he just has that stuff down pat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like having knowledgeable board members who are interested in learning about more of the board, I think that's an easy thing for me to do. It's almost exciting. I know book learning, reading rules and regulations probably isn't everybody's cup of tea, but man, I love those nuts and bolts.
Sometimes you got to read, reread, review, reread.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, but man, we really appreciate you, and anybody willing to throw their hat in the ring really has the children and the community's hearts and minds at the center of it all.
Yeah.
And Matt Worrell, Mississinewa at-large candidate. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck.
Yeah, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.